Hey Peaches, what is up? I hope that you are having a great day. It's been a really long time since I have filmed a video, and as you can hear, probably a lot of bees. I'm outside. It's so pretty and feels so good outside today, and I figured this is probably going to be kind of a longer video because I don't really have any key points to go by. I'm just kind of talking. But I wanted to give you guys an update on quarantine life. And how everything's going over here. I want to hear from you guys to hear how it's going over there, and kind of just an altogether life update. I feel like my mental space was super, I don't know, weird for a long time. I don't even want to say bad, even though it was. Just off, very off, and more off than I realized that it was for a long time. So basically, quarantine right now though. We'll start there. Today is April the 5th. I have been out of work since March the 20th, I think was my last day. So for a full, actually 2 weeks now, a full 2 weeks, I guess, almost. And we are supposed to return to work maybe next week, but we're kind of just waiting to see what the orders are, because right now, if you guys are new to my channel, or this is your first video, or you've been here for a little while but didn't know, I am in Georgia, and we have a statewide shelter-in-place order. So I say quarantine because I don't think that's quite the same thing as like Italy is going through, but I'm not sure. I don't know all the correct terms, and I don't want to say something loosely and then it be, upsetting to anybody. But we have a shelter in place. That's our official order. So we're not supposed to go do anything other than essentials, like get groceries. We can go to the bank. We're allowed outside, which is why I'm saying I don't think it's a full-on quarantine, because I think maybe if you're in quarantine, you're not allowed out. I'm not sure, but we are doing all right. Dustin is actually out of work until May, and God has just completely taken care of us there because he's still able to get his regular paychecks. I have filed for unemployment, and I haven't gotten any money from that yet, so I always kind of feel a little stressed about my money, but I'm hoping that in the next little bit we'll figure out what's going to happen with my paychecks. Yeah, so I've been out of work for a little while now, and sorry, I'm a little nervous for some reason. It's been a long time since I made a video. I wanted to break down the start of this whole COVID thing. At first I thought I'll do quarantine, this, that, and the other, and make all of this content about it. Actually, I don't think that's going to be true. We're definitely doing house projects that I am filming. I just haven't edited, which I'll get to that in a second about why. So you guys will see that on the vlog channel, some things that we've been able to do. But I don't know. I think this is how I'm going to explain it, and I hope that all my words cooperate with me today. It's not that I'm against quarantine or stay-at-home videos and content and whatever, because I've been watching tons of those. But I think for me specifically, it's been more about anxiety and my mental state, and I don't know. It's been really eye-opening this last little bit for me. So the beginning of all of this, I started to get really anxious at work because, if you guys also don't know, I work at a salon. Now, I don't do hair. I'm at the front desk. So I'm not directly in someone's face doing their hair, but I am directly in their face checking them out, making appointments, or doing whatever. And I've been at my job for close to 10 years. So I say close to 10. It's been 6. To me, that's close to 10. So some of these people that are coming in are friends to me, and I'll come around if somebody wants to hug me. I'm going to hug you, and we're going to talk, and we're going to be close, and we're joking and whatever. So even though I'm not a hands-on person job description wise, I am a hands-on person in life. So that was making me anxious. And what was making me the most anxious, I think, if a bumblebee stings me, you guys will catch my second bee sting of life in almost 30 years on camera, so that'll be something. The other thing that was making me really anxious was that all of the clients that were still coming into work after more and more and more info was coming to light about how contagious this was and how dangerous it was for certain people and whatever, were elderly people, not even older people, elderly people. The last day that I worked, a lady came in that was on a walker, and I was I can't be here. We cannot be open right now. So, again, this has been a very eye-opening thing for me to learn about myself. And in that time, this is what I have figured out a little bit. I think that some people are looking at this quarantine time or stay-at-home time or whatever term you want to use there as like a vacation. Like, wow, we're adults and now we have summer break from work and from other things in life. And I think if I'm just being brutally honest, I was almost like jealous of that in the middle of this 2-week break so far, because I did not and have not and still don't feel that way. Like, wow, we just get like all this time together, even though sometimes I wish I could just look at it that way. Like, this is the most time we've had off together since we've been married, other than like when we got married. So it's been great. I've been here with my dog Suki, I've been here with my husband Dustin, I've been able to do some house projects that I wanted to do, but I still haven't looked at it as like an enjoyable time, because for me and for anxiety, I'm like, I need to know what is coming next week. I need to know what's coming tomorrow. I need to know when I'm going back to work, what the plan is, like, and just all these details that no one has. So at the beginning of this, when I started to feel like I shouldn't be here, I don't know what to do, I never want to put anyone else, especially employment-wise, in a tough position. So I was feeling like, I mean, as long as we're open, I guess I'm gonna be here. I'm not gonna show up for a shift or something. And my boss was kind enough to ask me after that last Friday I worked over the weekend, like, what is, in a group text for all the people that work the front desk, like, what's the plan for this week? Are you guys all comfortable working? And I was like, I am not. So, luckily, she was understanding in that and didn't hold that against me. You would think after a week long of me being like such a pest to my boss, like, what's the plan? What are we doing? What, like, all this. And even in conversations with her, I would be like, I know you don't know. I don't know why I'm asking. And that's why I'm saying, like, this whole thing has been so eye-opening in the fact that I, like, feel like I have to have answers on things. And a part of growing up is realizing that you don't have the answers to everything, and there are going to be times where you can't have the answer and you have to just keep going with whatever the next thing is. So after I said no, like, I'm not comfortable working the next few days, I think I was expecting like a big weight off of my shoulders, and what I wasn't expecting was like the weight of not knowing kind of was off my shoulders, but then the new weight was I feel so guilty for not going to work. I usually, like, if I don't feel well, unless I feel like I'm contagious with something that like, if I felt like I had the flu, I wouldn't be going to work. But if I'm just feeling unwell, I would still show up and do my best, because I don't like to not, I don't know, have a really strong work ethic, I feel like. And so the first few days of us still being open, which we were only open 2 more days before we officially got shut down, I was just miserable. Like, should I just go back up to work and, you know, work until we're done, or what do I need to do? So that was the first part of my quarantine life here. It was extreme guilt for, like, leaving everybody high and dry, even though several times several different people were like, you're fine. And to be honest with you, it's still something I'm kind of working through. That how I handled the whole thing, I don't think was how, if it was reintroduced, if I had a second pandemic to go through, I don't want to have reacted, it's not a sentence, the way that I did, not because I would have changed my decisions about things as much as a lot of the things that I said and felt and did and the way that I acted was based in fear instead of in, like, logic and calm and reason. Everybody that's going through this right now, unless you're, like, you know, however many years old to have lived through and remember and, like, really suffered through another situation like this that has affected the whole world, we're all trying to figure out how to deal with this. So I am trying to be gentle with myself on that aspect, and just know, like, I couldn't have known really all the way how to react because I've never been in this position. So I'm somebody too that it's like, I don't want to go to work, I don't want to get sick, I don't want to get somebody else sick, and I also, like, I can't not have money, you know? Making the call there was really tough. So that was the first part. The second part has been, like, after we were officially closed, I thought, okay, now I'm gonna, like, really enjoy this time and like, you know, get all the projects done, do all the things, and talk to all the people and whatever. Well, and then I had a kidney infection for like 5-ish days that really knocked me out. I have not ever in my life experienced something like that. I don't get sick very often at all. And like I said earlier, if I do get sick, I just work right on through it and try to like, you know, power through. This was, I had, even with my prescriptions and everything, I was waking up in the morning after a terrible night of sleep, being awake for a little while and then going back to sleep for a lot of the day, waking up and then going back to sleep for the night, like day after day after day after day, hardly eating. I was throwing up, like it was really bad. So that's where I've been for the second chunk, and luckily Dustin has just been so kind and just the husband that I knew that he was going to be in tough situations, which is just like loving and patient and taking care of me and like not complaining or turning around to make me feel bad about anything. I don't know, just again an eye-opening experience in a lot of ways. So that's been the second part. Now I'm 2 days better from that infection, basically. Yesterday was still kind of a rough day, but today I feel like myself, and yesterday I did too, I just wasn't all the way there. But I now feel like now's the time where I get to like enjoy it and whatever, but I still feel like I'm wanting all the answers to all of it right now, which is so frustrating for me because I mean, I think that if you are someone who's naturally anxious about a lot of things that you can't control, the easy thing would be to just tell yourself, like, you don't have the answer, just get over it, kind of. As in, if I go back to work next week, well, then I'll be at work next week. Like, there's nothing to figure out there. But for some reason in my mind, I can't do that, and it's so aggravating. Like, I plan things to such a crazy extent, and I kind of have always summed that up to being like, I like to be really organized, and I am. If you guys could see certain aspects of our house, that is just like, I'm a crazy person, and that's fine. I like to be organized. I like to have things in order, and I like to know what's coming up next. I organize and plan meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a month in advance. I plan my checks, like where my money's going, what extra is, like all of it. I like for everything to be planned. So for this time, not having it all planned out has really made me realize, like, whoa, you like too much control. It's been difficult. As I said, I'm trying to give myself a little bit of grace because this is a new situation, but it's tough. So a few other things, let's see. I think that wraps up quarantine for us. We've done a lot of house projects. Something else that was happening before all of this, and I don't know what happened. There was something that shifted, and I wish that I could like put my finger on it. And the best thing I can say is I had one conversation with a family member that I don't talk to often about the way that I grew up, about family members, about family history, about all of this stuff that I think threw me for more of a loop than what I thought it did. Without getting into too much detail of all of that, I don't know. I just feel like ever since that happened, I kind of haven't been the same. And for a long time, I felt like probably for a month, I was having nightmares every night that weren't just like I went to school without my pants on or like something stupid. It was like someone was strangling me, or like someone died, like really dark, terrible things to wake up to every single like night after night after night. So then what started to happen was, sorry, it just got darker out here. I was afraid to go to sleep because I knew I was going to have nightmares. And they were nightmares like people breaking into our house, which is something I'm always terrified of and always have been for my whole life for some reason. But I wouldn't go to sleep because I didn't want to go to sleep because I knew I would have nightmares. And then I would be awake all hours of the night. I would wake up the next day and be a terrible, miserable, unhappy, mean person because I hadn't gotten any sleep, and just feeling like sick all the time. So that was like the chunk of life before all of this happened. During the week of not knowing, like, am I going back to work? Are we closing? Am I going to have money? Like, what's going to happen with this, that, and the other? The same thing, was having so many nightmares. One of the last ones that was like really bad that I super remember was one of our family members that's elderly dying, and it was like not just like, oh, we're at a funeral. It was like visually I had in my nightmare had to see it happen. And I just woke up that night and was like, so when my boss asked me, are you comfortable working? I was like, can you give me a little while to like think about it? She was like, absolutely no problem. I that night had that nightmare. And part of it was about them not being able to breathe. And I was like, I don't know if this is it, but no, like, whether I'm dreaming that because of COVID or just because of anxiety or like stress or whatever it is, I need to take a minute here and like figure myself out. So that's been miserable. Luckily, since this has happened and since I got through those first few days of feeling really guilty about not being there, I stopped having nightmares little by little. I would still have a few every single night, and I'm still really anxious to go to sleep at night, but I've been sleeping a lot better, other than us having a screwed up sleep schedule because we're not going to work. But so COVID, not sleeping well, and anxiety kind of. The other thing, two things kind of I want to touch on. One I know I want to talk about. The other one I like don't know. I have you guys request all the time to share like my testimony, to share faith-based videos and all that kind of stuff. And to be honest with you guys, I'll be all the way honest, which makes me nervous. Half of the reason I have not done those is because I feel like they won't do well, and because I don't want to offend anyone, which is really not the right attitude to have, because I feel like if you're sharing something and it's coming from the right place, it's not offensive. It's just like you're learning about me, like me saying that my favorite color is blue. That's not offensive to you if your favorite color is purple. You know, I don't know if that was a good way to explain that or not, but I just feel like I am so anxious about offending people, and it's mostly because of this, which goes into the second thing about that. I really don't know much about my faith. I say that, and then sometimes it's like, I feel like I do know more than I give myself credit, but basically what I'm saying is I really can't communicate things very well about it, half because I'm nervous. I don't want to be wrong, like I want to have all the right answers. So something that hit me this morning, we were watching church online, and it was a really good sermon, but strangely it didn't have anything super directly to do with this, but I just kind of like, I don't know, it hit me, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So a lot of the books that I have are like how to one of them, How to Find God in the Bible, is actually the title. Bible facts, and it's like all these little books that it's like you can look up words and see where they are and like see the verse around them and the context and whatever, which I think is helpful. But I realize what I do is find books like that so that I can like almost use it like, how do I explain it? Kind of like I just want to study and have facts, so that I can spout facts instead of it being like real life experience with things and me just being me, and that's my faith and living it out. I don't know. I really don't want it to be confusing, but I feel like that's the best way to explain it. Is I've been getting books for and living life that way, not only books, but just like give me the bite-sized facts so that now I know the bite-sized facts, because then that makes me a good student of the faith, right? Because in school, if you have the facts and you can spit them out on a quiz, great job. It's not really the same thing. I don't know. I think I'm just having a hard time where I am in several things, which is like the way that I look right now. I feel like I'm too old to dress the way that I want to, which isn't like in booty shorts or like anything, even if that's your thing. It's more like You know, this little racing shirt and these hoops. I'm like, is this appropriate for my age? I don't know. If I wear this, is someone going to think this doesn't look like Christian? I don't know. And I think today, for some reason, my eyes just kind of opened a little bit better about that. And it's like, it's not about what you're wearing, or, you know, I don't know. It's just, it's still a little foggy, but I just wanted to share that with you guys because I do get requests like that all the time about faith stuff, and I feel like I need to be up here before I can tell you guys anything about it, because like, I don't want to lead anybody wrong, I don't want to offend anybody, and I think it's more about just sharing the journey together as opposed to me having all the answers for you or anything like that. I don't know if that makes sense. Basically, that's just a really long way to say I'm having a hard time with my identity right now, and I kind of have spent a lot of my life thinking I'm like not confident, but not like over the moon, and I kind of have realized like actually I'm not. I realized the other day I was on the phone with someone, such a small thing, and they asked if I knew what something was, and I was like yeah, and immediately afterwards I was like, no, I don't. And it wasn't because of anything else other than like, I don't want to look stupid. Yeah, I know what that is. And the whole rest of the day I just thought, you could have said no and learned something instead of saying yes so that you don't look stupid and now you don't know. And I don't know, things like that keep popping up in everyday life that are teaching me more and more lessons, and I'm trying to figure it out, is all I'm saying. Maybe the last thing, I know this is a long video, I'm having a lot of fun though, is videos. So the other thing I thought at the beginning of this quarantine was like, yeah, I'm about to make all these videos and do all these things, and I really haven't been super motivated to make videos because I've been so focused on making this like an endeavor to make money, to make a business, to make a career, to make this my job, that they're not fun anymore. And I think the reason that they're not fun kind of goes back to what I just said, which is I realized that you can watch things, videos, shows, or whatever, and if you're like in the creative space, I guess is the best way to explain this. Like for me, I love watching certain vloggers, but then if I try to vlog in that style because it's something I like watching, then I just don't feel as good about it. I don't know. So I'm kind of realizing that even though I like watching a certain kind of thing, it's not necessarily what I like producing as much. And vlog-wise and video-wise, I feel like I have always had a tendency to try to be funny because YouTube for me, like for everybody I guess, and that's the reason I don't like to talk about all this all that much, is because I feel like everybody has the same explanation, so it's not unique really, but it's true. I started watching Live Lava Live, was probably the first, like every single time they had a new video, it was like, oh, there's a new video. Then I started watching It's Judy Time, and like a few other things, and those were ones I really, really liked watching. And Live Lava Live I liked because it didn't feel like a mass production, it just felt like fun. It took me out of where I was every day, which was miserable. I had a terrible time adjusting to going to private school from homeschool. I was really nerdy and didn't know how to dress or act or like anything, and that made it really rough for me for a long time, and home life was not good. And so Live Lava Live for me really took me out of all of that. I didn't have to worry about that. I could watch those videos. I also watched Superfruit and loved them because of the same thing. It was just like friends having fun, and sometimes there's like an inside joke that you don't get, and later maybe they repeat something and you're like, oh yeah, I remember because of whatever. And so it just really felt like friends to me, and I'm trying to approach my videos now kind of that same way. Like, how can I make this for other people and for me how it felt at the beginning? And I think it's more difficult now for YouTube because everybody's on here, you know, but I still think that that's what's going to make me the happiest, so I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Now, vlog-wise, I think it's easier to do that. Main channel-wise, I'm not really sure how to incorporate that since it is not a vlog, but maybe we'll figure it out. So if you guys have any ideas or thoughts or anything, tell me, because I definitely want to hear about it. I really like to talk to you guys, and that's one of the main reasons I like not being a huge channel right now, is because I know a lot of you personally. We talk like on a weekly basis through Instagram or whatever other media we have together. And I've made some really good friends on here too. So my camera cut off because it thought I should be done now. So I guess I should wrap this up. I know that this was a lot of information, probably some of it not so fun to hear or entertaining, but I felt like I wanted to do this because this is the realest that I felt in a long time. And just the way that my mind is working, I feel like I have to act on some things that normally I would just be like, maybe shut up about that. The same way that, you know, if you feel like somebody's been put on your heart and mind to like call or text and check on them, do that, because the more opportunities that this is how I feel anyways. If you feel like I should do this thing, obviously not things like jump off a cliff, but like a good thing, check on somebody, even if you don't think it's like a big thing to do and you don't do it, the more times you don't do that thing, I think you're losing grip of you and like what's going to make your heart the happiest. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video. I know that it's different, I know that it's long. If you can relate to anything I've said, I'd love to hear about it. I want to know what your thoughts are, and like I said, if you have suggestions on videos coming up, how to kind of incorporate a feeling that doesn't feel as like same thing in every video, disconnected, or whatever, tell me. Because I always ask, like, what is it that you want to see on YouTube that you don't think is being done? And I'm not saying that, like, what can I do to be different? I'm saying that, like, what's going to make you feel connected? What do you need as an escape, or, like, whatever else? So that's it. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day today. I'm going to try to go ahead and edit this video. It's only 4, so I have plenty of time, and get it up today for you. But I really appreciate you guys sticking around and always giving me kind words. And hopefully going forward I can figure this out a little bit better for you guys and for me. And figure out how to be more authentically me and bring to the table the things that I bring to the table, and not worry about if other people have already brought it, or if I'm bringing it and nobody else has, if I should be bringing it. So those are all my things. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to. I'm going to stop saying that at the end of videos probably too, because everybody says it. Y'all know you can subscribe. Why does anybody need to say it? Alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye.